Hello and welcome back to Doctor Who DVD review. I know I've been gone for a while, but I'm starting to get back into it. So, with no further ado, Season 31, starting with Time and the Rani. This is a 4-part adventure which aired back in 1987. After Colin Baker's era, they thought it was time for a new Doctor. So they got a clown, or stage performer, who lived in circuses most of the time, and who was an assistant of a famous performer. They got Sylvester McCoy to play the 7th Doctor. Time and the Rani I thought was okay. Wasn't great, but it was alright for the time. I think that motto kinda looks cool, but really doesn't. You know, it's like one of those stupid little monster things. And you just pick it up and like, hey little monster, how are you going? It's like, yeah. Time and the Rani, it's okay. Paradise Towers is one of my favourites from the 7th Doctor era. Mainly because it's set in a paradise land where you think everything's happy and all that crap and all that shit. Until everything turns crap when they think, oh, he's a great, all hail the great architect. And then they kill him. Like, oh, yeah, we're gonna get some great Doctor Who here. All in all, Paradise Towers, a very, very good story. Underrated. I quite like it. Delta and the Bannerman. Yes, this story is about a woman, a baby, and an army. That's all I can say, really. Basically, the Doctor and Mel get a ticket to go to a very special place like Disneyland. But they go somewhere else entirely different instead, and they come across the woman Delta and her child, who has like sort of these psychic powers or alien powers, and so that draws attention to this army who wants to kill Delta and kill her child as well. So the Doctor and Mel put themselves right in it and have to save or have to help Delta and her daughter from the evil army guys who want to destroy them. Oh no, Delta and the Bannerman, pretty good. We get somewhat of a companion, but not really, of Ray, which I thought was going to become a companion, but that didn't happen. Instead, we got Ace, which we'll talk about in the end of this season. But yeah, Delta and the Bannerman are stunning good for me. Then we get The Fires of Vulcan. Now, this is a story that I think is set in the Roman times. It could be in the Mythmakers times, Greece, possibly. It's to do with fire and all that shit. So I'm not very certain, but from what I can tell, The Fires of Vulcan basically doesn't really have a story. You just gotta go with the story, unless of course it does produce a story, which then case becomes a better story for you and the characters, although the story doesn't become a story until like mid-end or something. I haven't listened to it or seen it in a while, so I can't really give my thoughts. The Fires of Vulcan, they're alright, it's alright. For a 7th Doctor story, pretty close head with someone else, I like to think. Pretty good though. And next up, oh, this is gonna be a real show with this one. Bang Bang-A Boom! Oh boy, this one feels like Delta and the Bannerman all over again. But this has a different concept. It has the same sort of concept that will come into next season, possibly. But we'll get back to that, I promise. We'll get back to it eventually. But right now, we have this. Bang Bang-A Boom. Holy frickin' shit. What drugs were they on when they made this? I don't know. But they made a story about Bang Bang-A Boom. The title alone just makes up for all the mistakes that they have later on in the story. Just hands down, the title makes me want to laugh every day I hear it. So Bang Bang-A Boom gets a 9. It's that good. Honestly, it's good. Try it sometime. Then we get Flip Flop. Now, Flip Flop, I think it's okay as a story, but when you look at it out of context, it does become some of this mishmash of miscellaneous characters, weird transitions, weird looking eyed monsters, which kind of represents of demon type things. But if you look at the story in a different sense, Flip Flop is probably a good story if you try a lot harder by watching it or listening to it. Sorry, if you try a little bit harder with the story itself, because it's trying really hard to have a story, and it doesn't have one, so it has to keep on making up one just so you get the story fully, and that's what I think it tries to do. But all in all, Flip Flop I think is okay as a story. Just needed a perfect actual storyline to get the story actually fully going, I think. Me personally, I think that one. Unregenerate. Unregenerate is a very good story, in my opinion, but I think it has some problems where it makes out the Doctor to be crazy, which isn't a good sign when you're looking at a Doctor Who story that's made by writers, very good, talented, and imaginative and creative writers with very imaginative and creative ideas. But when you look at it in this context, it doesn't really work. And I think them trying to make the Doctor look crazy, put him in a mental institution, I mean, the cover itself just makes you want to think, why did they do this to him? Answer, I don't have an answer for it. They don't have an answer for it. They had to come up with a story, so they just came up with a story like this, and they just titled it Unregenerate. Basically means he's not regenerating, he's stuck in the 7th Doctor's body, because you want him to be in that body, because you want to see him go on with the other stories and all that shit. But when they do this differently, it comes bit of a mystery to us. Well, to me, I think. Then we get the story Red. Oh, man, what a story! You think the Doctor was dark? Oh boy! This is like the first, somewhat first signs of the Doctor using his manipulation to manipulate other characters into doing good things and not bad things, and him trying to stop evil in a different way to what he was doing before. I mean, we had William Harder was trying to figure out things, Pat Troughton was trying to distract them, John Pell was going full on beating them, Tom Baker was giving them quotes and witty things to say, Peter Davison was assertive, was scared, but still had a good plan if it didn't go well very much. And Colin Baker, he just wanted to flat out annihilate things. I mean, he was that rude. But with 7th Doctor, he tried to use his head this time and make things a little bit more easier for himself and others to understand what he's doing, which I think Red very much used or utilizes as possible. Then we have We Are the Daleks. Man, it's been somewhat of a long while since we had a Dalek story, but when it comes to Dalek stories, this is what we want. This is what we want to see. This is what we get, and bang, do we get a real good smasher of a Dalek story. I mean, if you thought Revelation of the Daleks, the Juggernauts, and Jubilee was good, oh, well then here comes the We Are the Daleks, and it fucking outright annihilates them, or exterminates them. Overall, very good story. Highly recommend it. Go watch it now, or listen to it now. You're wasting time. Go now. Do it straight after this video. Go do it now. You enjoy it, I promise. And then we have the Warehouse. Oh, the Warehouse. How you interpret things so different from what Doctor Who usually does. I think the Warehouse is okay as a story. I think there's somewhat of a plot there, but I'm not sure. I'm somewhat confused and a bit outwitted, or I think I'm just confused with the story of the Warehouse. I think it's set in like a warehouse, so I guess that's where the story of Warehouse comes from. But I'm sure that's exaggeration. Overall, I think the Warehouse is okay. Not a perfect second story to not a perfect story, but an alright, okay story that somewhat gets what Doctor Who's about. Theoretically. Well, in my head it is. And next, we have Terror of the Sontarans. It's been a while since we have a Sontaran story. The last couple of Sontaran stories, well, the Sontaran stories that we had in the past were the Time Warrior, the Sontaran Experiment, the Invasion of Time, the Two Doctors, the First Sontarans, and now we're getting Terror of the Sontarans. Yeah, the Fifth Doctor, the First and the Second, never really had those. But that's okay. Overall, I think Terror of the Sontarans has a story. At least I think it has a story. But it never really started out to have a story, at least from my point of view. Overall, a very, very, very well earned story in my head. And to finish off season 31 of Doctor Who, we have Ace's very, very first goddamn motherfucking story, Dragonfire, set on Ice World, which we'll come back to in somewhat the third or something season, I don't know. We'll come back to it, I promise, I promise. So it's set on Ice World. We say farewell to Mel, who I thought was okay as a companion. Wasn't great, but she set the boundaries for a couple of companions to be better. At least she wasn't as boring as what's it? Oh, I'm trying to think. Oh, as Katarina. I mean, I thought Katarina was alright, but she died back in season 3. We covered it. Go watch that video now. Go watch that video now. Overall, Dragonfire is a very, very good finale to an alright season. An average season. So join me next time for season 32.